Hello, everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing great. Hope everyone out there is doing absolutely fantastic. And that you're all having a wonderful day. Don't forget to leave a like. It is a free and easy way to support the channel. A very big thank you to everyone out there who leaves a comment on the videos. It helps out the algorithm. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Yeah, so you guys know the deal. The last couple of weeks, we've seen an uptick, if you will, in optimism. We were already pretty sky high for what it's worth, as in, you were hard pressed, really, to find anyone who was absolutely negative on the cryptocurrency space. We had a number of analysts and investors who said that we may see a bit of a slowdown in the market, and therefore, by the time we get to the end of the year, Bitcoin's price might have just only doubled. But since the advent of MicroStrategy, pushing towards 600,000 Bitcoin, $3 to $4 billion worth of inflows to the US BTC ETFs, as well as BlackRock getting close to 600,000 Bitcoin alone by themselves, and the launch of 21 Capital. We've gotten a lot of sovereign investing news, country investing news, this state is doing this news, and just basically the accumulation has ramped up quite heavily. I always predicted that it would take until around the end of this year for us to see a lot of craziness, but it's probably going to happen closer to around July and August. That's if we see this level of momentum holding, simply because by the time we get to the end of the year, BlackRock will have over 1 million Bitcoin, as will MicroStrategy. And the amount of Bitcoin, for those of you who missed it, the amount of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges has not been this low since November 2018. And the amount of Ether on exchanges has not been this low since, I believe, 2016. I'm pretty sure it's 2016. Piling on top of all of that, we're getting a lot of price predictions, and a lot of people are announcing where they think these coins are going to go. Bankless's co-founder and longtime Ethereum advocate, his name is Ryan Sean Adams, has ignited fresh discourse after projecting a $17,000 target for ETH, nearly 9 times where it currently is right now. There's a lot of enthusiasm around Ether, as there always is. We've been going over, if you missed it, this was around a week or so ago, we got news that Vitalik Buterin will be stepping back from a lot of daytime operations within the Ethereum Foundation community. He's still going to be around, but I think they said his main focus right now is on scalability and I think user experience or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but that's kind of part of the news. On top of that, we have multiple Ethereum upgrades, I believe, happening this year. I think there's also one happening in November, December called Cucamonga, or they always have those weird names, but there's supposed to be something also towards the end of this year. A lot of people are, I'll give it to you this way. Ethereum's the most used blockchain on the planet, but its price has not been acting like it. We've seen a lot of movement from other coins onto Ethereum and onto layer 2 networks on top of Ethereum. However, we've also seen whispers of people being like, hey, we might move to another system. We might move to another network, because Ethereum's quite sluggish, and that's what the next couple of upgrades are supposed to be. And Vitalik Buterin also said he wants to scrap the EVM, the Ethereum virtual machine, and he wants to It's called like Risk, RISCZ. I don't know what the whatever these letters and these names that all these people come up with. He wants to do it with that because he thinks that that will allow Ethereum to 100x in capacity. So on top of that, everyone keeps saying, I don't know if you're on the same side of Twitter that I'm on because our algorithms are probably completely different. I'm getting a huge amount of people calling for a $5,000 to $7,000 Ether by summertime, like summertime. By the end of the year, a $10,000 to $12,000 Ether as well. I assume this has to do with a lot of the news that we've been getting about the Fed lowering interest rates and the tariff situation coming to an end and the Fed printing more money and global liquidity rapidly rising and the devaluation of the US dollar. And a lot of people are expecting huge sloshes of that money to flow into crypto. And the main theme usually always is, if Ethereum does well, the altcoins do exceptionally well. So I guess it's all wrapped up together in that kind of thing. His thesis is quite simple. The cryptocurrency Ether can grow to a $2 trillion market cap by becoming the ultimate store of value. I'm going to throw this out there. The original idea, I think Ethereum is going through an identity crisis, and not because of Ether itself, but because of the people in its ecosystem. The original idea for Ethereum was to be a world computer. It was literally meant to be a thing that had a coin that you could interact with and use on the actual platform. But imagine like a more open internet that no one can shut down, is decentralized. And basically any website, any protocol, anything you wanted to use or put on there, you could put on top of Ethereum, because years ago, one of the original ideas as well was for Ethereum to have private transactions. So they were literally trying to make Internet 3.0, like the original idea of what the internet was supposed to be in the 90s, open for everyone around the world can use it, no one can stop it. That morphed into this idea of like a payments platform that transformed into the idea that if any company was trying to go public on a stock exchange, I've been here for a long time, wanted to go public on a stock exchange, they could simply go public on Ethereum first by launching a token, which would basically mimic the idea of their stock. That turned into a security token offering, or an STO. That transformed into a place where art and money could flow together through NFTs and a bunch of other things. And then that transformed into the idea of like a staking platform where you could basically make passive income from simply holding onto a coin, such as a stock or a bond or something through your bank, but in a more decentralized way where you had complete control over it. Now, for some reason, a lot of people are talking about Ethereum as a store of value. This constant swapping and shifting and talking about Ethereum in different ways. And Ethereum was that, but that's old news. Now Ethereum's this. Well, that one's old news because that was a year ago. Ethereum's now this. Well, that one's definitely old because no one wanted that one. So let's talk about... It's becoming quite exhausting for the ecosystem. Really, the identity of what Ethereum is supposed to be, I think Ethereum would do perfectly fine if they worked towards the idea of the actual new internet, this new world computer that everyone could use, that had a currency that was able to be swapped along this thing, whatever the future holds, yada, yada, yada. This idea of Ethereum as a store of value is nonsense. And it's not going to ever be an actual thing. And I will withdraw that. And I'll say maybe in 30 or 40 years, it might actually be a thing. The valuation that you actually have to have for Ethereum's market cap, nonetheless, like its supply and its coin price needs to be astronomical. We need to have at least a 40, 50, 60 trillion dollar, not a joke, market cap to make Ethereum actually like stable. This is why you're seeing and have been seeing, even with Bitcoin having a $1.5 trillion market cap, There's still a lot of fluctuations. It's because there's a lot of momentum and a lot of movement within the market that can easily sway it up or sway it down. What you want is to have a coin. This is the idea of Bitcoin as digital gold or store of value, is that in the future, when Bitcoin takes over the valuation of all real estate within the United States, over $50 trillion, the expectation is that we're still going to see Bitcoin moving up and moving down in price, but over the course of a week, that might be 0.5%. It might be 0.25%, but because Bitcoin's at $38 million, that movement will seem gigantic to people actually holding it, but percentage-wise, it'll be too much liquidity inside of it to actually even be able to rock the boat. Now, a lot of people, I'm seeing it all over the place, are talking about Ethereum, trying to form like a new thing because I think they see people getting bored with it. Every single couple of months, there's a brand new idea as to what Ethereum is going to be in the future, who's going to work on it, who's going to do this, and what's going to happen. The thing was meant to be completed by the year 2020. We're in 2025 talking about this thing won't be done until 2033 at this point. The transactions haven't, once again, and this isn't me being negative about it because I know someone's folding their arms and they're very grumpy, but we're at the point where you can't just simply say that something's going to do something and then not do it. I've been in the market for far too long, and I told you all this before. The real strength in these projects comes from the people actually saying that they're going to do something and doing it. This is why Ripple continues to have such like a stronghold on people who really like it, because they don't have any broken promises. You can look back through everything that they said since 2016 and they've done all of it. They've actually exceeded all of that. When you talk about Tron, when you talk about Cardano, when you talk about Dogecoin, when you talk about Ether, when you talk about Solana, etc., there's always just a large amount of promises. We're going to do this. This is going to happen. The reason why Bitcoin like stands so strong is because Bitcoin doesn't promise anything. The people who are working on Bitcoin, the people from Blockstream, there's never been a promise Bitcoin's going to go to 9 million transactions per second. We've all accepted that Bitcoin is slow, that Bitcoin is 3 to 5 transactions per second. And at some point, we're all going to have to mosey over onto the Lightning Network if we want to use it on a day-to-day basis. The idea for Bitcoin is that it is what it is. It just sits there. It's good. It works. Don't fix it if it ain't broken kind of thing. Ether has this thing where it's constantly trying to figure out exactly where it wants to go. And I understand the price prediction. Like, I really do understand them simply because, once again, most use blockchain. The network activity continues to rise. But you can't sit there and talk about that now Ethereum's going to be the ultimate store of value because it has a number to it and it also gives you a yield. That's also what he's going to talk about as well. He said Ethereum's going to do well because you can stake it. And it's like, well, you can stake Cardano. I think you can stake Tron. Can you do that? You can stake multiple other coins. We're on the cusp of being able to stake Bitcoin. There are protocols being made to also stake XRP. So what else is there actually? Like, what are we all missing? Okay. His thesis is quite simple. The cryptocurrency can grow to a $2 trillion market cap by becoming the ultimate store of value, a fusion of monetary premium and staking-based income, or as he calls it, digital gold with yield. That's not a store of value at a $2 trillion market cap. We would still see massive fluctuations in Ether's price. We would realistically need about a $700,000 Ether before we get to around a $50 trillion market cap that would offer proper stability within that market and in that price. The $17,000 price target gained traction earlier in the year when pseudonymous analyst Qcoin argued that Ethereum was undergoing a classic shakeout, a brutal sell-off designed to flush out weak hands before a parabolic rally. The analyst drew parallels to ETH's 2020 slump, which preceded a 1,310% surge in 2021, claiming that history was repeating itself. Yeah, but the problem is, in 2020, Ethereum fell because the world was collapsing at the beginning of 2020. I think Ether fell down to $80 or something like that. So, it makes a lot of sense that we, saw the surge that was going to happen. But still then, that surge wasn't as surgy as it should have actually been. I don't know if you've been seeing it. We've also been going over some of it. A lot of analysts are kind of like throwing out this idea of like the past being reborn. That's where we got that news a couple of days ago from the company who said that they think that XRP is also following the 2017 model. And they think like it's literally going to go from like 40 cents to $2 to $7. And this is when, for those of you who missed it, they're like, yeah, like we could hit $100 per XRP this year. And it's like, if you keep drawing parallels to other things that happened in the past, then by golly, the next bull run, we're going to be at a $38,000 XRP. It just doesn't, like, the numbers make sense, but also you can't keep saying that, well, what happened at the beginning of 2020 when everyone was completely panicked and running around and the entire stock market completely collapsed, and then the Fed had to print trillions of dollars because the entire market works on debt and there was no other way to keep things afloat. And then we also had stimulus checks that were hitting everybody, and people were using this extra couple $1 trillion to push into the market. That makes a lot of sense as to why we went from $80 to $4,800. The narrative has changed quite a bit. Unless the stock market collapses, like now, we go into a depression, we get $4,000 stimulus checks sprinkled onto everyone, the Fed prints $7 trillion, and I go, okay, now these numbers make a lot more sense. I think the 17,000 is a bit weird, but we've also been seeing a lot of weird charts as of late as well. The $7,000 to $10,000 does make sense from the basis of even just doubling from its previous all-time high, but it's also this new narrative of what Ether is and what Ether is going to be. It's a bit cringe at this point. Like really. The least changed narrative for a coin has been Bitcoin. It just sits there. It's Bitcoin. Everyone's accumulating it. It's Bitcoin. The next one has to be XRP. Ripple used to go really hard a couple of years ago, like 7 years ago, as far as XRP just being used for banks and the banking system. That's kind of expanded in general, but what have you. Cardano's also had many flip-flops. It's just kind of I think it's difficult to find an identity because I think a lot of people in the space think that coins need an ultimate identity. That like something that really makes it stand out when investors don't really care. If you make Ether, like right now, put an upgrade that send it to 7,000 on chain, 7,000 transactions per second, the price would rise. People just want literal stability. Does the thing work? Am I able to send stuff? How secure is the network? Is anyone controlling it? Can they unplug it from the wall? You already have staking. That's all a lot of investors also really want. But then you can't have it's gonna take decades for Ether to even remotely get close to digital gold. I didn't mean to rant and spend that much time on this one, but it's like, it's kind of this thing that other coins were doing years ago. If you missed it, all these other like copycats of Bitcoin and yada yada, their entire purpose was we are the better Bitcoin. There was no other real narrative or song that they had except for like, we're better, we're gooder, we can do this, we're amazinger. And it's like, what else do you have? And then they were all talking about, well, we actually are going to have less than 21 million. Okay, but you're not really doing anything. It's just kind of like you can't keep. Anyway, that's the Ethereum ultimate store of value. What the hell is a blue money gospel? Like it gets so cringe sometimes. It's just kind of ridiculous. Okay, all right, let's move on. Also in the news, a hedge fund manager he's talking positively about Bitcoin and gold. He's predicting that over the course of the next couple of years, because of current, because of current economic policies from the United States. He says he thinks that gold is actually targeting $6,000 a coin, and that Bitcoin is going to push itself up to $150,000 per coin in the near future. He noted it's easy for it to go to $250,000 Bitcoin as the adoption takes place, and that's because the security is real. It's capped at 21 million coins. He pointed to nearly $1 billion of a single-day inflow into spot Bitcoin ETFs this month and growing interest from U.S. state pension plans. That's also something. These are also things that have been accumulating crypto. I forgot about those completely because we keep hearing about ETFs and all these other kinds of things. Not even the sovereign wealth funds. A lot of states over, I think Michigan is one of them. Google Michigan. Michigan has a state pension plan, and they, I believe, were the first years ago to start investing in Bitcoin. Now we're also seeing that from other states as well. So it's not just like the state itself trying to make a Bitcoin treasury, but also their retirement plans for their citizens are also accumulating Bitcoin. Do you understand what all of this is? Do you understand the swap in value that we're witnessing? Do you see all the news that the US dollar is completely collapsing, won't be lasting that much longer? Bitcoin's going to take over the valuation of all real estate within the United States. If the US dollar doesn't get it together and debt doesn't go down, Bitcoin is going to become the world reserve currency. We have states talking about accumulating and adopting Bitcoin as part of their treasury. For thousands of years, that was only gold. Gold and coins. In the last 200 years, it became like paper money. Bitcoin's been around for 16 years. We're talking about these institutions gathering Bitcoin for pension plans. Do you know it? That means longevity. You buy and hold on to these things so that people who are 25, 35, 45, when they decide to retire, they get their pension from that. If you are accumulating Bitcoin, you are assuming that Bitcoin's going to $38 million per coin to be able to pay these people their actual pension in Bitcoin. This is so big and it's so life-changing. All the news that we get every day is something incredible. And so many times I sit here and I just know that people aren't really, I know for a fact people aren't listening. It means nothing to them because you care about quick, fast money right now. I'm not going to even slide back into that conversation. Do you understand that Bitcoin's going to multiple millions of dollars per coin? Multiple millions per coin. The people holding it are going to be wealthy. The people holding it in 2040 are going to be wealthier. In 2060, this will continue as long as these chains are running. Bitcoin's finite 21 million coin cap and the added exposure provided by ETFs, he argued, could ignite a supply squeeze among institutions chasing scarce supply. Despite the digital assets rise, he loves gold. He maintained that gold remains indispensable. He advocates a 10% golden rule allocation and noted that large mining companies are using free flow cash to pay down debt and repurchase shares. Yeah, well, very bright future ahead for people who are actually paying attention. Moving along. Also, in popular news, we've been going over this for a while. It won't stop. It's constantly continuing. The stablecoin economy holds a valuation of $239 billion US dollars, requiring an additional $892 million to pass by $240 billion just within stablecoins alone. The amount of stablecoins on the market is a little scary. It's a little shocking. We've seen before in the past as more stablecoins get created, we're witnessing a lot of different things. But this usually bodes exceptionally well for the cryptocurrency space, especially during a time of a bull run. A lot of companies are entering the space and they're using stable coins, and stable coins are going to be adopted by countries and by institutions. And a lot of these things from these countries and governments are going to be built on top of the decentralized blockchains. We had news from PayPal that they're also offering a return on it. A lot of other crypto exchanges are trying to do the exact same thing. The stablecoin economy is growing. You might not notice it that much to yourself or your friends, but in Latin America and in Africa and Southeast Asia, stablecoins are taking off. People are choosing not to use their local currencies over using stablecoins. And a lot of people have actually turned to using stablecoins as like an actual means of payment. It's completely insane. According to Defilama, what? Okay. The stablecoin sector expanded by 1.96% this week, measured since the 20th of April. And there's a little chart right there. I've actually never seen the numbers. Yeah, Tether is always number one, and then it's, what is this? USDE. Okay. I guess it's a lot farther apart than I actually assumed. I was wondering what the third stablecoin was. It used to be DAI. I think that's what it was, but now it's in the 5th spot. Yeah, no one's catching up to Tether or Circle Coin anytime soon. The jump reflected a $4.5 billion increase in value over that span. Tether, the dominant force among stablecoins, witnessed its supply grow to 147 billion US dollars. Circle Coin grew as well. Anything else? Yada yada, so and so. And so we're getting a lot of stablecoin news. As far as the expansion of our market, the money, the interest, how much money is flowing into it, the liquidity, how much is being added to this space, and how much money is going to be flowing through that market as well. Yeah, it's all quite interesting. I guess I don't know what word to really put there. That's more of the stablecoin news that we're going to continue to get because it is good for our market. Yeah. Let's move on. Also in, sure, why not? This makes a little bit of sense, I guess. South Korea's People Power Party, that's okay, has pledged to approve spot crypto ETFs and scrap South Korea's one exchange, one bank rule if they win. One exchange, one bank. So I guess every crypto exchange was only allowed to work with one bank. Do we live in the 1920s? Have I missed something along the way that what in the world would possess you? I don't care who the ruling party is. In what world would that make any sense? If you are a cryptocurrency exchange, you can only work with one bank. Why not make them work with multiple banks to get actual counter, or to make sure? There's so much stupid stuff in the world all the time. It's so frustrating to read about it. So many countries. Once again, no country is perfect. But when you hear some of the stuff that goes on around why would that have made any sense? Especially as South Korea has been like the country that was the most paranoid about cryptocurrencies and regulations and making sure that everything works. I don't understand. The party's crypto agenda includes corporate crypto trading, stablecoin regulation, and a new virtual asset special committee this year. This is a party trying to get into power. The election outcome could decide the fate of reforms, which opposition leader Lee Jae-myung leading the polls ahead of the June 3rd vote. This was also relatively popular news. This was in a lot of places. People were talking about like this has already happened. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I hope they make more crypto-friendly stuff. But even in general, like, I don't understand. Like, what's wrong with... I know that a lot of countries just years ago had like a really strong opposition to crypto and were trying to hold it back. But I mean, even after that, like the normal laws in most places, if you get a chance, look up like rules and laws that can like get you in trouble in different countries. It's some of the weirdest. It's like I wasn't joking about the 1920s. I feel like humanity is like maybe we're in like 1921 now. There's no real logic to anything that people are doing or world leaders. It's just like constant stupidity, like knocking into themselves, walking into a wall. It just okay. All right, I'm getting flustered. That's gonna do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. Have a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.